What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my own review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Let's get into it. This episode irritated me from beginning to end, starting with Tisha and her childish ass. We literally see Tisha for who she is. We've always seen Tisha for who she is since season one, and this proves what we've already been saying. So, Carlos, let this be the last final season. Pull the plug on this show. This show has ran its course, okay? So, all right, so the scene starts off with Trish. She's in her kitchen cooking dinner. Tisha comes by to hang out and help her. Where are the rest of her children? I think the oldest was doing something else, but Ken took her daughter to dance. Tisha wanted to act like she was so concerned about their relationship and wanted to make sure they were all good. No, the fuck you weren't, Tisha. Need I remind y'all that the Scotts were heavily invested in Ken and Trisha's situation? Especially when the information got revealed that Trish might have had a situation with Martell when he was still married to Mel, and Tisha wasted no time to have that opportunity to expose it in front of Mel. So you can fucking miss me. Anyway, so Trish opened up about her journey to therapy, how she started her first lesson, and she recognized that she has had a lot of anger build up, and that when it bottles up and it blows up, she recognizes it don't just blow up towards family, it blows up towards anybody she thinks is pressing her, and she has a moment to react, which to me is a reason why she follows behind Kimmy, Tisha, and Destiny, because she takes on their feelings and their emotions towards another person, she adopts it, and she acts on it and does little comments, little jabs. But then I'm also recognizing that Trish never stands on what she says when she's around these ladies one-on-one. Because she had a conversation with Nell and understood where Nell came from, but when she's around the group, she agrees with how Kimmy feels, how Destiny feels, how Tisha feels, and leaves Nell all by herself. So Trish is not really a friend, I would say, to be trustworthy in this group, because she's never going to stand in on what she says to the other ladies. No. She's going to cower. She's going to wimp. She's going to follow behind what they say and never have her real thoughts about nothing. But just the back and forth of Tisha trying to give her the ability to be supported and navigate the storm. You're going to come out better for this. It's so funny to me how Tisha is giving her the upliftment of going through therapy when we haven't seen her navigate that same journey. Where are your counseling sessions with Marceau, Tisha? Remember how you tricked Marceau the first time into going to counseling with Dr. Francis and he never went back? You said on your live that we were going to get real conversations, we're going to get transparency, you guys were going to admit some real life struggles y'all had to deal with, and I haven't seen it. Is it coming later in the season? Please let me know. But anyway, that's pretty much where it left off, because Tisha want to say, as black people, we never really give therapy the idea of going through our healing journey. We're taught to pray about it, but we're trying to break away from that cycle because therapy is necessary. Therapy can help proper healing. Okay? But she also wanted to invite Trish out for a little girls trip to head out to Bessemer to celebrate her mother's grand opening for her cardboard potatoes. But Trish can't come because she's going to celebrate her son's birthday in Miami. Moving on from there, let's get to the main conversation that she really wanted to have at this moment, which was about Nell. Like, we've already called out Tisha for being childish. We've already called out about how she never stands up for herself. She uses everybody else to be her mouthpiece. This proves right here that she doesn't really know how to properly handle situations that she puts herself in. Okay? Because to rally the troops to go against Nell over a situation you put yourself in to not get yourself out of is crazy. Because she talks about how the night was supposed to be a good time. Everybody was going to have fun. And then when we went outside to talk, it was going to be a good conversation. But then it went left. Yeah, it went left because you guys set that up to gang up on her. Y'all wanted to question her about why she left LA, which had nothing to do with y'all. And y'all got upset that she wasn't bowing down to you. She wasn't bending her will to get you all in her business. You felt the way, and this is the result. At the same time that this is happening, Nell and Chris are having their conversation about what happened that night. Nell said, I thought I was calm. I did not think I was yelling. But everybody is talking, and they're telling me, if we're going to resolve this, then you need to tell us what your problem is. You need to admit that you have a problem. But Nell is saying, I don't have a problem. Like, why are you trying to tell her to have a problem when she doesn't have a problem? Why are you trying to admit she has an issue when she doesn't have an issue? So Tisha was putting 20 on 10 throughout this entire conversation and episode about what happened, and that somebody else is doing the most. When you stood up and screamed out, victim, 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 get the fuck out of here with that. Nell is repeating Kimmy saying, you don't have to keep yelling at me, but we're both yelling. So if you're yelling and I'm yelling, you don't have the right to tell me what I shouldn't be doing if you're doing the exact same thing. So Chris wanted to know, are y'all good? Can y'all be okay? Nell said, I can be cordial. I can apologize. But she recognizes that Kimmy's apology was public, meaning that she wasn't believing that Kimmy really was sorry, that Kimmy's apology wasn't genuine, which I don't think it was. I think that Kimmy only apologized because she doesn't want to appear to be in the wrong. Like she did not do anything wrong in this situation, but she did. Hell, you were the aggressor when you threatened to dump her in the damn pool. Make it make sense. Nell said she isn't the type to accept an apology so quickly given. It takes her a minute to accept it, but at that time, she just accepted it. But she's going to keep an eye out on these ladies. Her guard is not going to go down at any time, and it shouldn't. Now, with talking about her grandbaby, I feel like we need to let this conversation go. Okay, yes, y'all can keep on giving us the flashback that Nell did say Lance got a call that the baby was coming, the woman was in labor, and they had to leave. Okay, at the same time, what does this have to do with y'all? This has nothing to do with y'all. Y'all weren't affected by it. Like, is this still about Destiny? I don't understand how y'all are so concerned about why she left LA and why she might have lied or backtracked about why she left LA. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And then they're making it seem as if maybe she said something that she shouldn't have said. And, well, if that's the case, stop asking her. If it's a sensitive topic that she doesn't want to talk about, stop asking her. Okay? If she mentioned, I'm not mentioning this anymore, don't talk about it again. And why are we only saying as if she told Tisha, not everybody else? When y'all all met up to give updates, y'all wanted to know if it was true that Lance had a baby. Nell replied and said it was true. So I'm so confused as to why y'all making it a bigger issue than it is. So where does it end things with her and Kimmy? She said that her and Kimmy are good, but as far as for Tisha, I'm not talking to her. She's not talking to me. Now she recognizes that it is a problem with these ladies, but it's a problem when I'm the problem. I'm the issue that they're always pointing at. But at the same time, if I'm saying I'm not going to keep talking about my granddaughter, stop talking about it. I don't understand what's confusing about that. Tisha still don't want to be held accountable about how she got into that argument and then allow for everybody else to be her mouthpiece because she was a scary ass bitch. And then, I don't know, all of a sudden, Trish now sees similarities between her and Nell and that Nell needs therapy. Fuck you, Trish. You had one therapy session and you think you have all the answers to recognizing somebody else's issues? No, you don't. Tisha goes on to drag Nell about being a life coach and that she needs some help and she's not moving forward. I mean, she said, I should keep her name out of my motherfucking mouth and I'm going to do just that. When's that going to happen? Because you've been talking about her this entire time. You spend this entire scene and episode talking about her. Make it make all the way sense. To say she's not the type of person I want to be associated with. That's very interesting, Tisha, because where was all of that energy when you wanted to ask her, have there been infidelity in her marriage? Did anybody forget that? When Tisha and Marceau were creating a relationship with Nell and Chris as if they've never been around them before, as if they've never spent time with them, because Nell and Chris have said they have been at Black many a times. So when they first met up, the first thing Tisha asked Nell is, have there been infidelity in her marriage? And Nell said, of course. So I'm confused, Tisha, about how you're automatically placing Nell out to be a horrible person and that she's not someone you want to be associated with. But you have asked her to be your mentor. You have called her for marital advice. So what is going on here, ma'am? What am I missing? Okay, I'm going to move on. So Trish has a late night therapy session with Dr. Francis. And she tells him about how she's learning things about herself. She still has a lot of work to do. She visited her parents' grave after their first session, and she cried. Dr. Francis congratulated her on that because that is growth. We're uncovering new things that we're recognizing within ourselves. So we talk about her having 2 kids. We know that she is married at that time, but she has been separated for 6 years and is going through the divorce process. Dr. Francis was right when he said this. You might have removed yourself physically from him, but you're still connected with him emotionally. We've all recognized that anytime we see them have their arguments. We know that she is still emotionally scarred from how they have had their relationship and how he left her. But Trish was not ready for that conversation. She got out of that so quick and mentioned Ken and was very much happy to talk about Ken and not about Marquez. So how they do have a great relationship. He points out, what kind of relationship does your daughter have with this man? She said, it's really good. He shows up to every event. There are times where I can't make it and he's there. He's heavily invested in them. And as far as like for the kids be happy that he shows up, where does that leave your own personal relationship? She said, it's good, but you can hear the cracking in her voice where she ends up admitting that she was jealous of Ken when he was starting to come around, and that the kids took to him so easily, they gravitated towards him. So in the beginning, she had always felt like she was the center of everything. The kids always came to her. Then when Ken came around, they would go to him. Maybe it was something missing in the household that Trish wasn't recognizing, and she would make little jokes around the time that the kids would ask of him and would want him to do something. I call it, she was pretty much talking shit about him in front of the kids, but wanted to disguise it as, I'm just joking. No, you weren't. And there probably are times where Ken took offense to you coming at him for no reason. Maybe that's also why Ken have said you create little arguments with him for no reason, and this is probably why. And when it came down to her being in the center of everything, it happened when her ex moved to Atlanta. And that her kids always asked her for things. It was her responsibility, and she felt like her responsibility was taken away from her, which is very interesting. So I don't know what was on Dr. Francis's board. It was a cluttered mess. I couldn't focus. There were so many different connections and facts and lines. I was like, what is going on here? Basically, Trish never thought that Ken was going to be somebody that she would have been in a long-term relationship with. And she never thought that her kids would like him. So basically, Ken was somebody that was supposed to be a fun thing, that was never supposed to be a serious thing, but your kids like him. You don't want to take him away from your kids. You actually enjoy him being around, but do you want him to be around? Do you like him to be around? Or is it the stability that you really enjoy that comes from him? So she pretty much feels like it's hard to trust people. She finds it very hard to trust people because she feels that they're going to end up leaving her. So he gave her the analogy of a pistachio, where sometimes there are pistachios that are fully closed and some that are partially open. Trish is fully closed, and she kind of puts a protective barrier around her where it keeps her from opening up. And she pretty much has to put somebody through the ringer to pay off those dues to get her to open up. So when the kids started to open up, that's when she opened up. But it's still a little crack. Like she's still waiting for the opportunity to close it. But to admit why she is closed off, it's like a huge weight is lifted off her shoulders. Because she has to make things right in their relationship, or there won't be a relationship. She has to deal with her past in order for her to move forward. Listen, as much as I am enjoying Trish talking about her trauma and her triggers, I honestly don't want to keep on seeing this anymore, because I don't know. A part of me is like, it's real, but it's also not real. I just feel like Trish is using this as an opportunity to have her look good, better than how Marquez did. Okay, I think she's still trying to make herself look like the victim in every aspect, as if she hasn't been the initiator in the problems that she's had. And it's to Ken too, and it is to Marquez. But I don't know, the way we're starting off every episode with Trish talking about her feelings and being transparent, it's not really feeling authentic to me. Not the first time. The second time, I don't know. I do think she do need real intensive therapy, but I don't think doing it from the show is going to really create a real lasting effect, because how are you having all of these newfound feelings off of one session? Trust me, lots of people can have a breakthrough in a couple of therapy sessions, but you're not all the way healed yet. I feel it like, I'm thinking that we're only scratching the surface. I don't think we've gotten to the hard stuff yet. And I don't know if Trish is going to be completely open on doing that, but I feel like she's doing a really good job in appearing on the show like she's really is grasping at this opportunity, like she's really taking it in seriously. But I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I ain't got nothing against her going to therapy. I ain't got nothing against her on trying to receive help. But it's just like, why now? Why did it take you 2 years of being on this reality show to finally realize your trauma has been creating all of these issues for you? When you've had plenty of time to do it. And I understand grief happens differently for everybody. Some people don't want to fix their problems so easily. Some people don't want to accept the pain so easily. I understand all of that, but I don't know. It's just something that I'm not really getting the realness all the way from Trish. Not all the way. I think it's enough, but I don't think it's real enough. If I'm making my point clear. But we're gonna move on. Okay, so now we have Tisha. It's time for the road trip to Bessemer. Everybody pulls up to the house to get into the Sprinter van. I honestly don't know why you wanted to rent out a Sprinter van for a 2-hour drive. You could have easily called a car service. You did not need a Sprinter van. Like, was this a way for her to flaunt her money? I could just order a Sprinter van just like that? Girl, please. Good night. The entire car ride, all I got was, these bitches are mean girls. Real talk, okay? They're nothing but mean girls. So they talk about Wanda's food truck opening and that they're surprising Wanda. Wanda has no idea that they're coming all this way from Huntsville to come to Bessemer, okay? Destiny was wondering, are any of the ladies coming? She said, I don't talk to Nell, you know that, and Trish had to work. Trish didn't have to work. She had to go to Miami for her son's birthday. What did you hear? And then they literally spent that entire time mimicking Nell, mocking her voice, repeating what she said like she's loud and she was the loudest one ever. Nobody else was loud. Like, girl, she got loud and angry because you threatened to throw her in the pool, Kimmy. So her response was very well needed. Like, I don't have no time for this shit. And Tisha, you asked everybody to speak for you when you could have directly addressed Nell about your problem, but you didn't do that. Like, the cameras can see you guys both yelling at each other. Nell was in defense mode, okay? Like, I'm not finna do this. And then Kimmy brings up Trish about how Trish was even saying, she wasn't yelling. She wasn't yelling. Fuck you, Kimmy, and fuck you, Trish. Like, Kimmy, do you think we stuck on stupid or something? You're literally trying to repaint a situation that we saw happen clear as day. You were the aggressor. You threatened Nell. She responded. While you were going back and forth with yelling at her for how she was yelling at you, like you did not give her a reason to yell at you. And you trying to use Trish as a reliable witness to appease your case? No, your case is invalid. Your case has no merit. Good night. Hang it up, okay? And you know for a fact that Trish is not going to say, yeah, you were nailing as well, because Trish is trying to get in with y'all. She wasn't part of the cool girl crowd. So she's not going to tell you what you need to hear, which is you were wrong too. No, she's going to just appease you and follow behind you. And like I said, Kimmy, you still don't want to be held accountable that you threw it back in Nell's face as to why you did not invite her to hang out with her earlier that day. So, fucking miss me. And then, you tell us that you had to literally beg Nell to come outside to have this conversation with Tisha. It took you about 15 minutes where you had to literally beg her. If you have to beg somebody to come outside to have a conversation, that means they did not want to have this conversation. I don't think production was in y'all ear. I think you were trying to be a producer and produce a scene that you obviously got what y'all wanted. But I see through all that bullshit. I see through it all, okay? Like, this whole conversation they had about Nell was disgusting. Y'all talking all this shit about Nell, but y'all never say it to her faces. Scary hoes. And y'all didn't like that she called y'all 1.0 and 2.0. That's what y'all are. But make it make sense. Y'all were questioning her left and right. Once Tisha said something, you said something. And Tisha, what you're not about to do is make it seem as if there's this huge age gap between you and Miss Nell, okay? To say, I'm not about to argue with her. She could be one of my elders. Like, she's about my mom's age. Tisha is such a damn child. It's not even funny. And you literally shaded Kimmy right after you said that, because Nell and Kimmy are around the same age. So is Kimmy like your mother's age too? Is she an elder to you? She's not one of the girls? Like, fuck out of here. Like, don't make it seem as if you really can't hold your own against another grown-ass woman, Tisha. Fuck you. So, because you're too scary to address her, you bring everybody else to speak for you. And then you want to say, I'm going to stay in the child's place. Oh, okay. So because you want to stay in the child's place, you want everybody else to handle your battles. You want everybody to not tell you the truth, not advise you to be accountable, not advise you to be honest and transparent because you want to stay in the child's place. You don't want to deal with the hard stuff. Okay, so go ahead, grab your bottle, grab your binky, grab your blanket, go sit over there at the kiddie table. And don't come over here until you learn how to be a real adult, okay? Don't come over here because a real woman will admit that she's not strong enough to handle a situation that she put herself in, because that's exactly what you are, Tisha. You are a fucking child. That you put yourself in situations, and when people call you out, you become passive aggressive. You act all like, oh my God, what did I do? Like, why are you coming at me like this? I can't take that shit. I can't take a woman who wants to act fucking five whenever she gets in shit that she doesn't know that she got in shit. Tisha has never been able to stand on her own 2 feet, and I'm fucking tired of it. Anyway, now they want to say maybe Nell got something very deep going on. Maybe that's the real issue and don't want to talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. Oh my God. Destiny said, I think the issue is you guys have both said things about each other's husbands. Typical Tisha. She doesn't want to admit that she also said things that could have hurt Nell's feelings because that's not what Tisha wants to do. Tisha starts in the middle of how she felt disrespected, how she felt hurt about something that somebody else said. Not how we got to that point. No. Because that whole NDA comment that Chris said, that was already squashed. You made it worse when you got in that man's face. And when Nell addressed you and approached you, that was wrong of you to do. That was my husband. You didn't want to be held accountable for it. You felt like you didn't do nothing wrong. And then to say, I want the people of 2025 to stop talking about it because it's not funny. Girl, it was so funny that your husband didn't say shit about it. Your own husband made another joke about it when it was revealed. Your husband didn't give a fuck about the NDA comment. You're the only one who feels way about that comment. Nobody else does but you. The fuck out of here. And to me, though, Kimmy was looking at Destiny sideways because Destiny was trying to be neutral into seeing things from both parties. And they didn't want Destiny to be neutral. They wanted Destiny to choose a side, choose their side, okay? And as far as Kimmy trying to say that Nell runs when mess is being brought back to her, like mess started from her, and she don't want to admit that she started mess, get the fuck out of here, Kimmy. Y'all have started mess, and y'all have never been held accountable of the shit that y'all started. Make it make sense. I feel like Nell has stood in the mess that she's been in. Y'all have never stood in mess that y'all started. And we're not fucking stupid. Y'all are trying to have a revisionist history that y'all have never been messy when y'all have been. Y'all have been talking about other people's situations. Y'all have been talking about other people's husbands. Y'all have been doing that. And I think Destiny ended up saying maybe Tisha let the comment go, but Nell couldn't let the comment go. Nell has never brought the comment back. It's been Tisha that keeps on bringing up the NDA comment. Then Tisha want to say maybe because it still affects her. Affects her how? Tisha, if you want to keep on bringing up that Chris cheated on Nell, whoop-de-fucking-do. We already knew about that. They spoke about that on the show. She was open about it. She was transparent about it. She spoke about the time she was separated from him. So what are you trying to say? Because if you don't have nothing else to say, stop talking about it. Like, what is it about y'all? Y'all live in the land of milk and cookies. Like, it makes no fucking sense that y'all are literally having such an exciting conversation about a woman getting cheated on, but y'all wouldn't want nobody else to have the same exact conversation about y'all husbands cheating on y'all. Y'all will be so upset. Y'all will be so hurt. Teach it all about, they try to ruin my marriage. They don't want to see black love. They want to hurt us. But you want to hurt another woman by constantly bringing up that her husband cheated on her, which was so fucking long ago. It was before the show, before you guys knew them. Like, what are we doing here? I swear, like, oh my God. And then Destiny, this right here proves to me you are not really Nell's friend. As much as you try to preach about how Nell look at you like a daughter, you're like a mother to her. She's like a mother to you. And Destiny, you can't preach about how you don't like being in the middle and how you're tired of being pulled here and pulled here because less than 2.5 seconds, you're going to get messy again. And here it is right here. Because Destiny want to say, oh my God, girl, I forgot. I should have told you. When I hung out with Nell, And after the whole keep your name out of your mouth business, she also said she needs to be worried about what that girl said in that video and not about my business. Now, Tisha did the most yet again by saying, oh my God, I am not worried about it. I mean, look at me. Look at me. I don't have nothing to worry about. Sit your ass down, Tisha. If you don't have nothing to worry about, where was that energy when you literally wanted him to buy a new wedding ring because he doesn't wear it? Where was that energy when you questioned him about that back photo? Where was that energy when you questioned him about the 20 women? Where was that energy when he went to Africa by himself and didn't really speak to you throughout the time he was there? Was gone for about a month, I believe. What happened with that? Where's that energy if you have nothing to worry about, Tisha? Ask why your husband can never give you a straight answer about what it is that's been said about him. If you're not worried about it. If you're not worried about it, Tisha, you wouldn't be looking crazy asking 5 million questions to get a reason why this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Make it make sense if you have nothing to worry about. So, of course, since we were on the subject to talk about what Tisha needs to talk about, oh, no. She passes that and wants to talk about Destiny and her dating life because they're so excited about how she got multiple men coming at her. She got a new movie role. She got to learn to box. She talks to Twan about teaching her how to box. Because they had a business date to talk about. That wasn't a business date, Destiny. Stop lying. Kenny was very invested into listening to Destiny. Because I think she gets off with the fact that Destiny got multiple men to date. And Kimmy can't do that anymore. Because then, okay, so Googly Eyes is in the mix. Where does Will fit in? And she was like, I'm just in that philosophy where I'm just dating till I find that one. And a lot of people assume that when you're dating multiple people, they assume you're having sex with them, which is not true. Listen, Destiny. I said it before. You're a grown-ass woman. You can do what you want to do. Dating multiple people is not a problem. I think the way you're going about it and how this show is presenting it is why it's an issue. Because you can't date outside of Alabama. You gotta date within Alabama. You gotta date people that are connected to other people. Like, that's the part that's making it awkward and weird. All right? But, Tisha, you really want your ass beat for this. So then Tisha decides to make a joke about why Lance ended up getting that girl pregnant because Destiny wasn't giving it up. I wish I was there. I can knock the shit out of Tisha for saying that because that wasn't your place. That was nasty. That was disrespectful. So when that information gets back to Nell and she addresses your ass, don't say shit. Don't say, I wasn't saying it like that. That's not what I was saying. Don't get passive aggressive. Don't get lost and confused as to why she's coming at you because you came after her. You mentioned her son after she told you, keep my family out of your motherfucking mouth. For somebody who wants to stay in a child's place, you keep on getting into fucking trouble like a damn child and don't like to be reprimanded when you do childish shit. Moving on. Trish and Ken, they go out to discuss some things that have been happening in their relationship. They were talking about their gym. Trish wants a brick and mortar. He found somebody that can build an app for them, and that she's been enjoying her session with Dr. Francis. Ken is very happy that she is going to therapy. He's been preaching for this for a very, very long time. And that Dr. Francis compared her to a pistachio where she's very closed off, she's very guarded, and she hasn't really opened up and expressed herself. And that's when he cuts her off to me about saying, why don't you come to me? Why don't you express to me about how you feel? To me, though, it's a possibility that Trish hasn't always trusted that she can confide in somebody because she's not sure if her feelings are going to be protected or going to be safeguarded because she is still hurting from how Marquez was supposed to be that person to be there for her and he wasn't there. And she also reveals that she became jealous of Ken with the way he came in being all Superman, was there for the kids, was there for her. He was like, you thought you're losing your kids to me? She said, yes, I did, because I was always there. I was always the person that they came to. Then you came along and they always come to you. And that was an issue that I never realized. Because she has been the sole person that her kids has come to ever since her ex left. And I think she felt like if I protect them, then nobody else can disappoint them again. But I don't think that Trish really recognized how she might have been disappointing them when she hasn't been emotionally available to be there for them, to support them like they needed. And it makes sense as to why she's very guarded into not letting him in all the way. And While she wants him to be there, but she wants to protect her kids and herself from heartbreak. But you can't suffocate them. You have to release it at some point. Baby steps. This is also why Trish was not mentally prepared to get into a new relationship when she hasn't ended her old relationship with Marquez. She wasn't ready. And she doesn't want to be disappointed if she brings somebody in and she loves them and they end up leaving. But you can't keep on being prepared for that. You got to take it day by day. So both her and Ken agree that they're going to be conscious of the things that they say because they do want to stay together. I'm very happy that Ken mentioned that he needs to apologize and take accountability for the things that he says, because he always throws out there when he's frustrated, he says, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave if you don't get right. I'm going to leave if you don't get help. I'm going to leave if this doesn't get better. I'm happy he said that, because what I didn't want is for him to only point out the flaws that Trish have as if he doesn't have any. Because I need Ken to also seek therapy as well. Ken needs to also learn as to why he always attracts emotionally unstable women and unavailable women as well. Because why do you only attract women that come with baggage, estranged husbands, children? Like, what is it about that? And why are you always looking to be Superman in these situations? It doesn't make any sense. There's got to be a trauma response in that. Okay. But that was pretty much the end of that scene. I don't know. Between Ken and Trish about wanting to stay together, I think they just look good together. I think they both gain some type of support in some other ways in this relationship. I do think that they enjoy having those moments where they are back together, not back together, because it gives them an opportunity to capitalize it off for the show. I think they enjoy being a couple for the show. As far as a couple in real life, I don't know. It's not giving real. But anyway, we're going to move on. So the ladies made it to Besma. They arrived at Wanda's soft grand opening. It's so crazy how Wanda wanted to create a food truck back in 2019 and then took her all this time to get it up and running. It's a pretty color of purple. Wanda was like, the hoes came to Huntsville. You know, she has these cardboard potatoes that is stuffed to the max with everything you can find in the kitchen. While the ladies were ordering their food, Kimmy wanted hers was steak, but she wanted medium. Wanda don't know how to cook a medium steak, okay? You are in the South, you're gonna get it burnt. And I have seen Wanda's food. I've seen images of Wanda's food. It does not look appealing. I would not try that. And I was noticing that the rest of these ladies weren't really eating it. They kept on stabbing it and swirling around to make it look like they're eating it. They didn't touch that food. They didn't want to touch it. Anyway, majority of this conversation was Tisha trying to set up to get her mama riled up to go confront Nell, which was so obvious, so childish of Tisha. And it was like, you really sat up here, drove all the way to Bessemer to cry to your mama about how Miss Nell told you to keep her name out of your motherfucking mouth. Tisha, grow up. Okay? You're literally laying it out as if you haven't done nothing wrong, which is crazy to me. You are such a child. That's why Tisha's a scary ass bitch. Okay? She's ridiculous. You are a grown ass woman with children crying to your mama to tell her to have a conversation with a woman that you can't handle yourself. Have your mama be your guard dog? Are you for real right now? Yeah, I'm gonna have my mom handle her because she's my mama's age. I don't want to speak to her because she's like my elder. Girl. Typical. It didn't take Miss Wanda long to get riled up and get mad. Because this is also something we've already known from previous seasons, that Tisha has always went to her mama to talk about her problems and have wanted her mother to handle her problems and fight her battles for her. And now in her confessional, looking like a sequin plushie, to say, Miss Nell gonna come at my baby? Well, how come she gonna keep her husband for cheating on her? How come she gonna keep her man for not leaving her? But Miss Wanda, you can't come at another woman about how her husband did this unless she still got her husband. You don't have a husband. You got a boyfriend and a side nigga, girl. What you doing? What is this? Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that she keep my child's name out her mouth. You don't want enough Miss Wanda, baby. You don't want enough of Miss Wanda, honey. Whoever asked for Miss Wanda to come back is crazy. Miss Wanda was not needed, okay? It is not that serious. Tisha, put on your big girl panties on and fix the issue yourself. Okay? Tisha, this is why you'll never get ahead in life. Because for one, the way you threw out there the situation, you did not even tell the story correctly. You just threw it out there right at the time Nell told you to keep her name out of your motherfucking mouth. That's where you started. Because you want to get your mama mad. Put a battery in your mama back, and you did it. Literally. Your mama's on the operating table while you are literally putting the battery in her back and winding it up for her to get mad all over again. And the whole thing about keeping her name out your motherfucking mouth, Tisha literally made it seem as if Nell told her to her face. But Kimmy had to say, no, she never said it to Tisha. She told it to Destiny. And Destiny told it to Tisha. That's the shit I'm talking about. The way Tisha tells stories, it's like she asked 20 on 10. And then Wanda called out Destiny for being the bone carrier, which she was. And Destiny did not want to be held accountable for that, how she was the bone carrier. You was. And Destiny, just keep it a buck. Take accountability of you being the bone carrier, and you became more of the bone carrier when you had to reveal that Nell told you that Tisha should focus on what that girl said in that interview than her business. Stop playing with me. Since you don't want to be real about your life, real about your business, you want to be the bone carrier. Fine. Kimmy knows that Tisha was trying to get her mom to fight her battles and doesn't think that is necessary. But Kimmy, she did the same thing to you. She confided in Miss Wanda about how you didn't like how she was acting. And of course, Kimmy cried to her mom and got her mom to come after you. Then Tisha mentions that Nell told them they're not transparent because they are not talking about the Martell interview. They gave out an excuse about how I spoke about it on my live. And again, Tisha, I watched your live. I watched it multiple times. You did not talk about it. You had no response. I appreciate Miss Wanda for keeping up with the conversation, asking Kimmy how does she feel about it. Kimmy want to say she didn't watch the whole thing and she found it to be ridiculous. Then why do you keep on shutting down the conversation if it was ridiculous? Asking you how do you feel about it is not you being put on the stand to say, yes, I know my husband's cheating. That's not what we're doing. We just want you to be real and honest about how this situation made you feel. And did you have a conversation? Now you see Tisha trying to shut up her mom and tell her not to talk about it, but no, sit back, stay in the child's place. Remember, Tisha? Stay in the child's place. And, Wanda was just discussing what happened in an interview by saying the girl said she got it from both ends, one end and the back end, by both of y'all husbands. Tisha didn't like that comment. Okay, but you made a nasty comment about Lance. So we're 1-1. And Wanda believes something might have happened. She believes there's some truth in this. Kimmy, your husband didn't make it any better when he met up with Martell. When he asked him, what does his dick look like? As well as how most of what he was saying wasn't true, but never clarified which parts wasn't true. Added more fuel to the situation for us to really believe something happened. And Kimmy has this logic, backwards logic, that she believes a man has the capability to cheat, right? But he wouldn't cheat with a girl like that. Don't put yourself on a high pedestal, Kimmy, to assume that Maurice wouldn't cheat with a girl that's finer than you, fine as you, or not as fine as you. Okay? A man will fuck a wall. Okay? A penis has no face. It'll get hard and it'll want to fuck. It doesn't matter what the girl look like, what the girl sound like, because I've seen pictures of that girl. She was a beautiful woman at that time. She still is. But, years have gone by. People have gained weight. Faces change. It happens. But, girl, don't play with me. And keep living in the land of milk and cookies, okay? Keep living in denial, all right? And you can tell that Kimmy got irritated by being in this conversation because her mouth was curling up. When she's in that, when she has that look on her face, that means she doesn't like the position that she's in, and she doesn't want to be confronted by this kind of information or this conversation. And Wanda pretty much calls out the fact that Kimmy is the type of woman that's going to accept what's going on. She's going to stick by her man no matter what, and that is correct. That's why she's going to suffer in having uncomfortable sex in silence. She's going to have a hard time swallowing that huge golf ball lodged in her throat when Maurice is going to ask her to have sex multiple times in a day when she doesn't really want to. And saying men are men, okay? That's all they're going to do. Now, the way that Tisha literally wanted to shut down that entire conversation because it wasn't going in her favor, but that's the part of the show, Tisha. You can't control how the show works in your favor. You came down there to get your mom to confront Nell. You got that handled, but you didn't like that your mom was putting you in a real position to be real and honest about a situation you don't want to talk about. So, Miss Wanda, I might be here for you for this one and only time because you got the girls in a tight spot and I was here for it. You gave them the opportunity to not run away from a real conversation. And when you said if a man can't give you a straight answer, then he did it. I don't disagree because Tisha and Kimmy have never gotten a straight answer from their husbands about whatever it is they were allegedly involved in regards to their relationship. But that was pretty much in the episode. This is all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm see you guys later. Bye.